What can Michigan show the world? We think it is exactly how any development of the State Fair property should start. META is our acronym for Michigan Energy, Technology, and Agriculture, and the State Fair property is where all of this should be showcased. November 15th, 2012. The 163-acre State Fair property, located at the internationally recognizable intersection of Woodward Avenue and 8 Mile Road in Detroit, is currently on the Michigan Land Bank Fast Track program to be sold for $1 in early December of 2012. The proposed transfer to a single retail private sector developer is for a plan that radically underutilizes this historic public property and doesn't come close to meeting the standards of highly successful developments being realized in cities across the nation. Nor does it meet the minimum standard of the Michigan Land Bank request for proposal for financial or experience qualification. Not only should any development on this property meet these standards, but members of the community want and fully expect it to exceed them. This booklet intends to show how. The META EXPO concepts shown here are a result of large public input from neighboring communities, mixed with ideas that resonate globally about places people want to live, and serves to illustrate conceptual goals valued by the community. It was put together by a group of concerned Michigan citizens as an example of the kind of development and vision the people of Michigan are asking for on this historic site. To accomplish this, we need substantially stronger public sector leadership to bring about a development that capitalizes on the true value of the State Fair property, a development competitive with other highly successful public-private partnerships realized across the country. So with great urgency, we must insist that the fast-track process be stopped at this time, and the governor and state legislature reevaluate the extraordinary potential of this property for real strategic economic development here in Michigan. If you're a private sector partner, university-based leader, or community stakeholder, and have ideas about potential and participation, or you simply agree that the conditions of this sale do not benefit the state or the people of Michigan, please contact the governor's office and the Michigan Land Bank as soon as possible, before this fast-track transfer of the property in December. The META EXPO concept, Michigan Energy, Technology, and Agriculture, a multimodal mixed-use center to showcase Michigan's businesses, universities, and entrepreneurship at the global level, including regional transit, exposition and entertainment, technology, mixed-use, commercial, office, and housing, green energy and blue water systems, and regional metropolitan agriculture. The State Fair property is the best location for this effort. With their focus on energy, technology, and agriculture, what would Michigan leaders, innovators, visionaries, and entrepreneurs in these industries want to show the world? Cutting-edge development such as electric automobiles and advanced battery development, green energy technology, solar and wind technology, green building and manufacturing, agriculture and metropolitan agriculture, Great Lakes water opportunities. These are but a few of the topics at the forefront of our state's research and development institutions and universities. If you don't see your ideas regarding Michigan innovation listed, we want to hear from you so that we can add them to the list as stakeholders in our META concept. Our development concept is the META EXPO, Michigan's State Fair of the Future, and we are proposing 6 development categories to first analyze the site's potential for redevelopment, and then to be used as ways of incorporating community building ideas that are important to the residents of Michigan. Placemaking, a regional transit hub, green energy systems, smart technologies, water resources, and of course, agriculture and its newest application of metropolitan agriculture. We'll explain these concepts in the slides that follow, reinforcing that the META EXPO is what Michigan can show the world. Let's begin with placemaking. We think it is very poignant and ironic that we would be asked to accept such lackluster, non-place-specific proposals for the land bank transfer, such as the Magic Plus proposal, when our Governor Snyder, shortly after taking office, issued a proclamation on placemaking as the heart of Michigan's economic competitiveness. He states, Neighborhoods, cities, and regions are awakening to the importance of place in economic development. They're planning for a future that recognizes the critical importance of quality of life to attracting talent, entrepreneurship, and encouraging local businesses. Competing for success in a global marketplace means creating places where workers, entrepreneurs, and businesses want to locate, where they want to invest and expand. This work has been described as a sense of place, or place-based economic development, or simply placemaking. Economic development and community development are two sides of the same coin. A community without place amenities will have a difficult time attracting and retaining talented workers and entrepreneurs, or being attractive to business. So we're taking the governor at his word and rejecting the big box store thinking proposed in the Magic Plus plan. With its acres of parking lots and lack of complete street amenities, we see this kind of development at every major intersection in Southeast Michigan. We don't need yet another at this historic State Fair property. We have a bigger goal for this location. As a 157-acre single parcel, it is shovel-ready for a place-based strategic economic development. Layered with 100 years of history as a showcase for Michigan agriculture and industry, we have what realtors and developers call location, location, location. The next slide will show you an aerial view of this asset-rich location. The next couple of slides offer site analysis and context. The State Fair property, shown here in orange, is bordered on the north by iconic 8 Mile, connection point of Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb County. Bordered to the west by Woodward Avenue, a 27-mile economic corridor centered around a federally designated All-American Road, one of 32 in the country, that connects downtown Detroit through 11 communities all the way to Pontiac. Bordered on the east by the Grand Trunk Railroad, line of the Amtrak Wolverine, as well as proposed site for regional light rail. Bordered to the south by the Penrose neighborhood, a metropolitan agricultural redevelopment site emphasizing a mix of affordable housing and food-based economy land uses. And to the west, some of Detroit's strongest and most prosperous neighborhoods: Palmer Woods, Green Acres, Sherwood Forest, and University Commons. And lastly, to the east, a residential neighborhood currently distressed but with great amenities for revitalization. This plan shows the neighborhood directly south, Penrose. It shares the largest permeable border with a State Fair site. As a primarily residential and metropolitan agricultural development, Penrose will look to the State Fair property for its commercial amenities. Redevelopment in the Penrose neighborhood centers around the food-based economy. Organized around a central neighborhood park, it will be supported by small farms and individual garden plots, as well as residences. The Penrose Neighborhood Project already underway includes the Penrose Market Garden, Penrose Village Housing Development, currently in Phase 2, scheduled to break ground this year in 2012, and Phase 3, housing around the Penrose Green in its early stages of planning. The Art House, with the Art Garden and Kids CSA program, an Annan Street Community Garden, as well as the Uptown Detroit Network, a web-based neighborhood bulletin board and interactive site keeping community stakeholders connected to one another. All of the images on this slide are of actual projects in progress in the Penrose neighborhood. If you've eaten in Ferndale lately, you may have enjoyed vegetables from the Penrose Market Garden. Next are diagrams of connections between the State Fair site and the existing community. With such vibrant arterials as Woodward Avenue with its automobile heritage, 8 Mile with its Hollywood celebrity, and the Grand Trunk Rail Line and its Amtrak connection, these local connections will need to be planned very thoroughly to overlay safely with these big regional draws. We think all these new developments need to be planned for multimodal transportation, a balanced mix of pedestrians, bicyclists, cars, bus, and even train and possibly light rail passengers, all of which will be connected through the concept of complete streets, where all users will share the same roadways and access to amenities. So if you look at our diagram, we propose that the grid of city streets extend from the adjacent neighborhoods onto the State Fair property to provide continuous walkable connections. These streets should organize walking, biking, and bus connections between Woodward Avenue and 8 Mile, and should easily access the bus system linking users to the region beyond. We think there should be a viaduct between the existing railroad to allow for the residential neighborhood to the east to directly access site amenities. And any train stop along the Grand Trunk must be located within walkable distance of other transit connections and easily work with the site's pedestrian activities. From this analysis and visioning, we want to show you a plan that connects all of the assets of the site with all of the richness of this Michigan place. With this many assets, the State Fair property deserves the greatest development possible, a showplace for Michigan energy, technology, and agriculture. A place where the public and private sector will roll out the best and the brightest that Michigan has to offer. It must feature a regionally commanding multimodal transit center, feature an expo facility capable of accommodating international crowds to witness the unveiling of Michigan innovation, be the home to a META Tech Center that draws our finest educational and research institutions, return to a mixed-use building model where commercial and residential uses share the same buildings, be placed and managed on state-of-the-art green and blue infrastructure, and finally to be a place that never loses focus from the importance of agriculture in Michigan, utilizing it as the platform for the burgeoning metropolitan agriculture movement and the city-making facing our urban cities of the future. The next slide shows these big ideas on an even bigger site. Placing a bus and rail transit station at 8 Mile and the Grand Trunk intersection. Placing the Michigan Expo and Entertainment District at the center of the site to work with the historically designated State Fair buildings. Using the MEDC campus in energy, its water and agricultural infrastructure along the east side of the site. And placing retail, office, housing, and green space to connect all these uses with complete streets, ultimately drawing 24/7 activity to the district. This is a land use diagram of proposed building placement, reclaimed historical buildings, and adaptive reuse. A key element of placemaking is the concept of a landmark, a building or a green space that provides a point of orientation, a GPS if you will. We propose that all the major fairground buildings be adapted and reused as the cornerstone of the organizations of streets, plazas, and parks, using heritage trees for their commanding scale. Thriving communities require the widest possible variety of land uses to ensure vibrancy. Specifically, the plan will provide red for mixed-use buildings, ground floor retail and commercial with upper floor residential, bright yellow, entertainment venues such as the Magic Plus Theater, light yellow, the Michigan Expo, historic reuse, purple, a hotel, dark blue, institutional buildings and research institutions, light blue, water management facilities, dark green, green infrastructure, light green, parks, plazas, and recreation areas, orange, transit, beige, housing, multi-story and townhouse concepts, light brown, parking structures, and gray, commercial strips and satellite eateries with the Gateway Project. We'll start with our first major concept, a regional transportation hub. The U.S. Secretary of Transportation Ray LaHood has offered millions and millions of dollars in transportation funds to the Metro Detroit region, but has challenged our leaders to pave the way with a regional transit authority. We think the State Fair property can be the heart of this change in governmental action. This diagram shows the State Fair as the epicenter of regional transit at the intersection of Woodward Avenue and 8 Mile. 8 Mile stretching from Lake St. Clair and the Points west through dozens of communities to Northville and points beyond, and Woodward Avenue with its 11 communities from downtown Detroit to Pontiac. 8 Mile also being the meeting point of Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb counties, and most significantly the Grand Trunk Railroad, taking the State Fair property across Michigan to Chicago and points across the nation with the Amtrak passenger rail. Our next diagram shows how multimodal transit would be organized on the site. A regional multimodal transit station is placed at the intersection of Grand Trunk Rail and the 8 Mile Road. Immediately west of it, at the intersection of 8 Mile and Ralston, is the regional bus station. Both deserve iconic architecture as set pieces for this new development. Local buses will travel the site along Ralston, a continuation of the existing street grid, and will serve as a primary transit connection to the rest of the community. The META Loop will bring transit ceremonially off of Woodward Avenue, creating a large loop within the site with local stops and connections in the Expo and Entertainment Center, as well as the 8 Mile transit stations. Traditional vehicles will be accommodated with angled on-street parking throughout the site, a very important complete streets concept, putting cars at the storefront door. As well, multi-story parking structures will be set mid-block behind mixed-use buildings to accommodate peak use demands. This diagram emphasizes local traffic, pedestrians, bikes, and smart car users, and their critically important connection to the neighborhood fabric. To make this development successful, people need to integrate it into their daily lives. Easy access and permeable borders make the continuation of the street grid crucial. Local visitors are just as important in regionals and even national tourists to the development's vitality and placemaking. Now that everyone understands how to get to the site, whether as a destination or just traveling through, it's time to showcase Michigan's best and brightest at the META EXPO and Entertainment District. The Smart Park is an interactive entertainment zone where free Wi-Fi connects visitors to community activities and events at the Smart House, the repurposed State Fair Rabbit and Poultry Building as Town Hall, and connects to the Magic Plus Theater as an interactive outdoor billboard facing the lecture hall and movie venue. Also, the historic State Fair buildings are repurposed as exhibition halls, with a spectacular glass-roofed arcade as a new pedestrian promenade between the regional transit station and the Smart Park at the center of the development. An internally connected hotel will provide expo hall management and lodging. Both of these border on the Great Lawn, an enormous outdoor expanse for staging a variety of events from local swap meets to entertainment festivals and technology trade shows. The continuation of Ralston Street, that important continuity of the existing street grid, connects the transit hub to the community at large. It runs south past the Gateway, past the Expo Hall, through the Smart Park, and down to the southern edge of the property, with the Community Arts Building where neighborhood events will be housed, as well as past the Grant House, a small on-site museum. Ralston should also link across 8 Mile Road north into Ferndale and beyond. The next concept, the META Tech Center, anchors the east edge of the site between extended Bauman and Havana Streets. Michigan's rich history and limitless future of technological innovation will be showcased in a public-private campus, where a powerful mix of tech center activity overlaps with a constant regional and international conversation of expo events and rollouts that will fuel ongoing innovation. Research universities, teaching institutions, industry research and development will fill these buildings along the site's park-like edge. The Magic Plus Theater and the Smart House and the Smart Park provide venues where these visionary ideas are shared with the region. The proposal also includes the reopening of a neighborhood high school to the south of the MEDITech campus and the introduction of a new middle school across the railroad tracks to support increasing residential population and to foster educational relationships to the private sector innovators with pilot school programs. Bringing new residents to the property is vital for its success, whether it be a senior living facility in a high-rise in the southwest corner along Woodward and State Fair, or residences above retail and commercial in 3 to 5-story mixed-use buildings, or traditional townhomes. Commercial businesses will share the same buildings as the residences to ensure 24-hour vitality. Ground floor retail, fueled by the activity of streets and broad sidewalks, will support second and third story offices. All building types will be innovative and cutting edge, showcasing the most sustainable building practices in the world. The latest energy technologies should be woven together throughout the site. From the known, such as green roofs, solar collectors, gray water recycling, and geothermal collection beneath the Great Lawn or in the ponds to the south, to technologies that are just emerging in sustainable building practices, such as on-site power generation and distribution, best water management techniques. This site shall employ the latest and most forward-thinking systems. An on-site power plant will harness these locally produced energies for redistribution. Even a power plant nightclub could harvest the energy of dancing feet. To honor the site's long history featuring Michigan agriculture and industry, agricultural innovation will remain a key focus of the development. The META EXPO, whether reviving historical agricultural venues such as the State Fair for the Future, or promoting the rollout of new and progressive research and development from the private sector or Michigan universities, will keep the topic at the forefront of this new community. Built features such as greenhouses topping parking structures, green roofs to combat solar gain, parks and lawns laced with geothermal collectors, building plaza water features that double as gray water reclamation systems, even the retention of heritage trees as a crucial part of site development can establish best practices for future integration of agriculture into denser urban sites. Agriculture can even be a part of complete streets planning, where storm water is used to irrigate green amenities and highlighting drought-resistant native plant materials. Metropolitan agriculture will influence the META EXPO site by strengthening the surrounding residential neighborhoods. It works by overlaying concepts such as four-season farming methods and viable entrepreneurial market garden models on the adjacent residential communities, where greater open space and less density allows for local food production. This is already taking hold in the neighboring Penrose to the south, where its CSA gardens, local market garden, and neighborhood gardens are fostering a food-based economic development in this distressed neighborhood. It has great implications in the neighborhood to the east of the META site, as well as to draw new residents and provide local jobs and activity needed to add vitality and security to these neighborhoods. The surrounding neighborhoods provide the venue for an ongoing year-round agriculture focus to the Expo and will benefit from partnerships between the local food movement and the MEDITech campus resources and facilities. Local agricultural jobs will supplement employment opportunities within the META complex. Michigan's citizens are looking for places in their communities to meet, work, play, be educated, and form a lasting sense of community. The META EXPO development is filled with parks, plazas, and historic sites, all connected with real, complete streets. Transportation paths equally inviting to the pedestrian and biker, bus and train commuter, as well as the car driver. These type of gathering spaces are the real heart of placemaking. Any redevelopment of the state fair needs to go well beyond the typical model that merely figures out how to place our car in front of a big box store with a dash of token green space into a development that attracts talent and entrepreneurship that want to live there. This rendering shows the juxtaposition of all the site's best featured, all place-specific, all integrating new and old into a new community fabric. The historic Coliseum, as the main building of the META EXPO, is off to the left, as seen through the grove of heritage trees now safe in the Smart Park. This is where free wireless connections link visitors to the shops, products, and venues housed in the building around the park. The Magic Plus Theater is to the right. Incorporating the historic bandshell proscenium into its facade, it becomes an interactive video display screen where smartphone users will connect to its interactive billboard functions to stay current with community events. A new glass-covered arcade connects the Smart Park with the 8 Mile Transit Hub. It also provides connections from the Expo buildings to the new mixed-use hotel complex. It's also a covered connection to the Great Lawn and Expo venue beyond. Just out of sight to the left is the refurbished State Fair Rabbit and Poultry House, serving as the town hall or smart house, where the local community gets connected to the world through Michigan's energy, technology, and agriculture. And this, our final slide, is our destination map, labeling all the new buildings and their uses to describe what we hope to be placemaking that can put Michigan on the map.